Speaking of Lake Ridge New Tech Schools. Speaking of Lake Ridge New Tech Schools is a public affairs program sponsored by the school district. Our goal here at Speaking of Lake Ridge New Tech Schools is to discuss issues in education that affect our schools, students, and community. In addition, we will do our best to provide you with answers to some of the pertinent questions of the day. Through our dialogue, we hope to introduce you to our faculty and staff and to other professionals involved in shaping your child's future. Our mission statement is transforming education, inspiring lives, empowering all. I'm your host, Eric Johnson, and today we are going to talk about elementary school. That's because today we have Melissa Rettig, who is the principal at Longfellow New Tech Elementary School. Welcome to the program, Melissa. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you for having me here.
And Melissa, I have to say, all the excitement and all the buzz is coming from the elementary school. You are a first-year principal. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because you're not actually new to the district.
Nope. I started at Lake Ridge Schools in 1999 as a middle school teacher. I was teaching reading language arts. I did that for about 10 years, and in the meantime, I was becoming a counselor, and when I became a counselor, I started at the high school at Calumet for 2 years, and I went to Grissom for a year. Mm-hmm. After that, I went to Lake Central, where I was a counselor and a dean of guidance, and then eventually an assistant principal over guidance.
Mm-hmm. So you've been a teacher at the elementary school level, you've been a counselor, and now a principal. How did all of that come together for you? Was it always your goal to be a principal at some point?
No, I never wanted to be a principal. It was something I was kind of, I don't want to say pushed into, but it was something that people had faith in me that I could do this type of job, and they convinced me to get my admin license, and I did.
And now you're teaching, or you're still a teacher, even though you are a principal. Yep. But now you are at the elementary level once again, and that is the very formative years. That is, I sometimes believe that a child's impression of school begins on how they feel about school at those early grade levels. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And my kind of vision for Longfellow is that, I want to enjoy coming there, but I also want the kids to enjoy being there, and I want the teachers to enjoy it. I think that it's difficult to learn those foundational skills if you're just sitting at a desk and doing paperwork. Mm-hmm. It needs to be fun. Teachers need to be able to make it fun for students. Students don't care about, adding, subtracting, learning to write. But if you make it fun, then they'll care about it too.
Right. What does your curriculum consist of? Because I know at third grade, which seems very early to me, but at third grade, they begin standardized testing. So what type of curriculum do you have at Longfellow? Is Longfellow also a part of New Tech?
We are, and I believe very greatly in the power of the projects that the students are doing at the elementary level.
Explain New Tech to our listeners, please.
So New Tech, or project-based learning, and it's what we get from New Tech are projects that are already created, and the teachers have to follow those. And it includes, when you're learning about your community, for example, and that's what some of our groups or our classes are working on right now, the community heroes, things like that. You're writing about it. You might be doing math about it. There's other things that you can do where you can bring in all of the subjects of school.
It sounds like the students have a chance to really use their imagination when they're doing things.
Yeah, it's problem solving. It's an opportunity for students to learn in an authentic way.
I tell you, I was at your second grade class a couple of weeks ago. paramedics came in, and they came in with their uniforms on. They had, they brought the stretcher in, and then they had the simulation, I guess for lack of a better term, the simulation dummies, which you can perform CPR on. And they gave your second graders an opportunity to learn how to do CPR. And the students really, they were very excited about that.
Isn't that fantastic that they have the opportunity to see the people in their community, and I mean, it's even exploring other jobs, careers for themselves.
Oh, I definitely believe you probably got someone on the path to becoming a paramedic one day through that class. I'll tell you, it was a funny story about that. I'll share it with the public. The paramedic, Mr. Steele, I believe his last name was, he was telling the students as they were doing they were pumping the chest and they were doing it to Staying Alive, the old Bee Gees song that came out like in 1977. And do you know that those kids, they were in there singing it like they knew? It's like the kids were going, staying alive, staying alive.
They knew it.
They knew it. I mean, and I'm like, okay, you were born yesterday. That song came out like 40 years ago. It's amazing how much they know.
Yep.
Does that surprise you when you're working with children like that?
It does, actually. They, sometimes I don't think we give the students and the children that we work with enough credit. I mean, they're if I need help with something technology-wise, they could probably do a better job than me. You know what I mean? They've got that kind of stuff figured out.
Because they're natives to technology.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
In case you're just tuning in, the name of the program is Speaking of Lake Ridge New Tech Schools. That is a public affairs program sponsored by the Lake Ridge New Tech School District. And our guest today is Melissa Rettig, who is the principal at Longfellow New Tech Elementary School. And we're talking everything elementary school now. And one of the things, Melissa, that you have brought in is Adventure Club. Now, what is that?
So it's something that I had some experience with in another district, and it is a before school and after school care. They accept child care vouchers, and it is a program where students have a lot of choice. There'll be a board, and students can choose to do something like snack attack, or they can go outside and do explore outside. It's just like art. There's different activities for them to do, and they can choose.
That's before school and after school.
The choice part is more after school.
After
before
school,
there's not enough time really, and I don't know how awake everyone is at that point. But yeah, definitely after school they do have a choice, and I would love to see that program really grow. Right now, I don't think we have as many kids as we would love to have, but I know that there's a lot of parents out there who are looking for someone to watch their children after school. Maybe they have to go to work, or they don't have anyone at home to watch their children. So it's a good opportunity for kids to be learning. They can even get their homework done, that sort of thing. We serve a snack.
So this is all after school, and it goes up to what time?
6 o'clock.
To 6 o'clock. So for parents out there who may be at work and you have challenges in picking your child up, or if you don't want your child dropped off at home by themselves or with an older brother or sister, but if they can, how do they get signed up for Adventure Club?
If they go online and they look up theadventureclub.com, they can go on there and they can register their child through theadventureclub.com.
So it's T-H-E, theadventureclub.com. And that's a before school and after school program.
It starts at 6 a.m. to 8:15, and then 3:45 to 6 p.m.
That is a wonderful service that you have brought to...
I take that back. It's 6:30 a.m.
6:30. 6:30 a.m.?
It starts at 6:30 a.m., and then it ends at 6 p.m.
And it ends at 6 p.m. So it begins the day, and it also ends the day.
And if they go on the adventureclub.com, they can see what the rates are, because not everyone can qualify for the child care vouchers. but then they can see how much it would cost them.
So once again, parents, that is theadventureclub.com, and you get on there, you log in, you'll find all the information that you need, and you may want to register your child if they are a Longfellow New Tech Elementary School student. You can register your child for that, and then they will be able to the parent, as a parent, you can drop them off early, or you can pick them up a little later after school. Sounds like a wonderful program.
It is, and I asked the parent yesterday as they were walking out, "Is this working out for you?" And she said she loved it. She loves that her kids have a place to go, and she knows that they're active and being fed and watched.
I got to mention this to you, and kudos, because a few weeks ago you had a shout out on 99 FM. Was that it?
Right. Oh my gosh, isn't that crazy? One of the teachers ran in and said, "Oh my gosh, a parent had called in and done a shout out on the radio
Yeah.
about Longfellow and how much they love our school and that their kids love this, going to Longfellow." So yes, it was so exciting.
And now, let's talk about another program you have going on, and that's One Book, One School. What is that? What does that mean?
So One Book, One School is where every student in the school is given the same book. And, obviously the students in kindergarten will have that book read to them. The older students will read the book or maybe read it as a group. There are activities that go along with that, and, you just make sure that we would have to make sure that the activities are following our projects. But it's a good way to get everyone kind of on this, shared journey of this book, whatever it might be. And in the last newsletter that I just I think I put it out yesterday, there's actually a poll because I think we have about 6 or 7 books that we can choose from. The district librarian, Rose Scambilleri, she's found a way to get enough books for everyone. So we just need to find out what the book is. So I want to make sure that parents go on to that newsletter and click the link and pick a book.
And that's a literacy program.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, kids should be reading every day, and that's part of what we're doing this year. It's called the Daily 5, and I want kids to read every day. I want somebody to read to them. I want them to read to someone else. I want them to be writing. There's all these literacy parts that they should be participating in on a daily basis.
Now, is that something parents can do with their children at home? Parents
Absolutely.
Or grandparents?
Yes, and it's so easy just to pick up something and read. And even if you don't have something to read at home, if the kids are in the car and you're driving, you can do a rhyming game. What rhymes with cat, and see if they can figure that out. Or, I'm looking for the capital L somewhere, or I'm looking for the word, dog, or whatever it might be. So kids are constantly looking for those words. Sometimes our students might be coming to us with I've read a 1,000,000-word gap if there's not enough enrichment with words.
Really?
If students aren't being enriched with words, they're coming to us with a 1,000,000-word gap.
So let's just say the average vocabulary should have 1,000,000 words. And so if you have a child that does not have that has that 1,000,000-word gap, where does that cause that child to struggle in school?
Yes, we definitely have some students who are coming to us. You can tell that maybe they don't have the social skills as a kindergartner. Maybe they didn't attend preschool or Head Start, and so not only are they behind socially, but they also some of them are coming to us behind academically. It would be nice if they came to us and they already had their alphabet down, so we could start working on putting words together. And they should be able to write a sentence
Really?
at least by the middle of the year.
So let's give a shout out to our Head Start, because we do have Head Start here at Lake Ridge Schools, and you can contact Artia Nash about our Head Start program. But do you think it's good for students? So you believe it's good for students to come to kindergarten with some Head Start experience?
Absolutely. It's, if you don't have that as a student, you are definitely going to be behind. And you're playing catch up for a while.
And you want to really have it done by third grade because that's when that standardized test comes in.
Right. That's when they take the eye read, and they say the eye read at third grade is a good indicator. If they're not doing well on that, I guess that's how they prepare for prisons.
I've
If they
heard
can't
that,
read
yes.
at that level.
Because at third grade, they're 8 years old, so 10 years down the road, they could be a convict.
Well, and
No,
we want to make sure
we don't want them that to happen, of course.
No. And we do see behavior problems sometimes if kids are behind. If the teacher is working on something and the student doesn't understand it, then we start to see some behavior problems. And for us, we also believe deeply in, a student doesn't just behave poorly because they feel like it. There's always something going on, and I think we get a lot of flack because we don't suspend right away, but we want to find out what's going on with that student. We want to find out what we can do to help them, that student, get past whatever it is that they're struggling with, so that they can be in a classroom and learn.
So good, and this is really the foundation of education is elementary school. So from elementary school to the Ivy League, it all starts right here in what you're teaching right now.
And I don't want our students to leave our building and not be prepared for middle school, because then they're behind all the way through.
And so, parents, it is important. How you have a newsletter? How often does that come out?
My goal was to do every week, but sometimes on the weekends I'm not home, or whatever's going on. So it's at least every 2 weeks I try to put something out, and if there's something important going on, I'll put it out through Remind if I didn't get it in the newsletter. But I definitely try and get it out every couple of weeks.
And parents, when you receive that newsletter, don't just blow past it. Actually read it, look at it, and see what's going on, because there are a lot of things going on at Longfellow New Tech Elementary School, and we have the principal, Melissa Rettig. She is the principal of Longfellow New Tech Elementary School, and every time I'm over there, I see something new. You have another program that you brought in. It's called Super Donuts with Superheroes. That's a very interesting program. Tell us about that.
I actually got the idea from a community member, and I love it because it is an opportunity for our school resource officers.
Those are our police officers.
Yep.
We call them SROs.
They are actual officers, but for them to build relationships with our students. So each week, and we've missed a couple weeks here just because of other things that have been going on when we normally have it. But each week, a different grade level. So for example, it's second grade's week. Each second grade classroom will pick a student to go and have breakfast with the officer, and it's just an opportunity for them to sit and talk, break bread together. And then the students and the officers will go and check all the doors, and they'll talk a lot about safety, and have the students help them participate in making sure the doors are all closed and they're locked, and just kind of show the students what they do.
I was talking to one of the police officers who was involved in that program with you, and he was telling me that something like that goes a long way in building a relationship of trust with our students, because according to him, he said some of our students, not all, but some of our students only see police officers in negative situations, or if there's something that bad would happen in the home, the police would have to come in and maybe subdue or arrest a parent or loved one in front of that child. And so that helps to avoid mistrust of the police at an early age. Is that really the goal behind that for you?
Yes, it is, exactly. And it's just an opportunity for the officers to get to do something fun, and the students too. I noticed that some of the teachers were picking the students that went maybe because it's their birthday, but some of them chose the student because maybe they want to be an officer someday. So it gave them an opportunity to kind of have that conversation.
And do you believe in this theory that you can never tell when a child might find their passion? Because we look at elementary, oh, you're just in elementary school, you're 5 years old. What do you know? But can a child find what their life's passion could be in elementary school?
Absolutely, I did. I decided in second grade, I had Mrs. Palang. She was the best teacher. I just loved her, and I decided I wanted to be a teacher in second grade.
Really?
So yeah, that's where that came from.
In case you're hearing some background, we're in our conference room, and so that's a maintenance truck driving past.
It's pretty loud.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty loud, and they have to do what they have to do. But at least we're live here. So that can happen. What can parents do to inspire their children to want to be good students and to want to explore school?
For most students, it's I think sharing that joy with the student about school, like being involved and like seeing the newsletter and like, oh, this is happening in your school, and oh, I'm going to vote for this book, or just kind of sharing in that joy with the student. And if the student is having trouble reaching out to the teacher, or either me or the instructional coach, Mr. Carter, or the dean, Miss Garcia, what can I do to help my child? How can I help them?
Yeah, and how can parents, if a child is struggling, and and a lot of times, unless you are a teacher, and let's face it, not everyone is. So some parents may do something totally different, and they may not know how to actually help their child. Can they contact the school and say, okay, little Dave, or little Cynthia, they're having a problem, and how do I help them with their homework?
Yeah, number one, I think it's important that everyone understands we are all on the same team. We all have the same goal. We all want the kids to succeed. And so when they call, be open to ideas or suggestions. And I think, number one is probably either reading to your child or having them read to you on a regular basis. Find like those games like I was talking about in the car, just having conversations with your child can be helpful academically. But then also when a student is having difficulty with behavior in the classroom, and somebody calls and wants to talk to you about that, 9 times out of 10 that conversation comes from a place of love, either from Ms. Garcia, the behavior team, the teacher. It's because I want this child to succeed, and how can we work together? And having those conversations with your child at home about their behavior and why they're here at school, and consistency too. When they do something at school and having some consequences for them at home, that can go a long way.
Yeah. I noticed a lot of your students, well, all of your students, they work with notepad, the computers.
The Chromebooks?
The Chromebooks, Chromebooks. How's that going?
It's good, and like we were talking about earlier, these students have been born into this, and they pick it up very quickly. So. And I was going in that all of their lesson plans, or all of their lessons are done with the use of the computer. A lot of them are, yeah. And
then
the other thing, as a parent, something that they can do is also be checking their Echo account and Power School, and making sure that attendance is good, and that their grades are in there, that just to kind of check to see how their student is doing. We're in a much different time than when we grew up, where a report card came out and it got sent home.
Right.
Right now, parents can check anytime. They can check their students' grades.
They can just log in and
Mm-hmm.
well,
Yep.
that's very good. And if a parent says, "Wow, my son is not doing well in math class, what can I do to help him?" They just contact the school.
Yes. Contact the teacher. How can I help my students? Hmm.
So that's really a good thing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We want them to be a part of this.
Now, you told me once that you have two sons in business school, graduate school at a really, really nice university.
Yes, at IU. One graduated and the other one is a junior.
How did you, now you were in education and everything, but how do you, what tips do you have as a raising successful children? What have what can you offer to parents about maybe some of the things that you did personally?
Well, I have to say, I was not very good at being consistent. And, but there was a time when my oldest came home and he was getting D's in math. It was in sixth grade, and I had to set alarms on my phone so I didn't forget to do this. But I ended up taking his phone away from him every day. Actually, I had to have my husband take it home because I was still at work. But he took the phone away, and then my son could get it back after we could see that he completed all of his homework. And and I required an hour from him at that point because that was a good amount of time for his age. But even if you're done with your homework, I want to see you doing extra stuff. And he could get his phone back when he was done with all that. And oh my gosh, he called me the worst parent on the planet. And none of his friends had to do that. And,
Right.
but the grades came up, and it was only when I could be consistent that we could see results with him. But I really do feel like I'm very, very lucky. I do have really good children, well, adults now. I really enjoy them now. They're a lot of fun.
And so you went through that tough time of giving them tough love, but then you graduate from business school with a salary of $125,000 a year. So it's like, thank you, Mom.
Yes, they're not making that much, but hopefully soon.
In case you're just tuning in, we're talking with Melissa Rettig, who is the first-year principal at Longfellow New Tech Elementary School, and she shared with us some of the wonderful things that are going on at Longfellow New Tech Elementary School. And I know you always like for parents to come in and volunteer. Do you have a PTA or PTO that parents can get involved in?
We do have a PTO, and our next meeting is going to be it's Monday, October 23rd, and it's at 4 p.m. in the Longfellow Library. And I invite all parents to attend. I think they would really, we have a handful of parents that are involved in it, and I think they would really love to see a lot more parents involved. One of the things I was just talking to the PTA president about was having a day in the spring where we can clean up the playground and have volunteers come. Like a Saturday, we clean up the playground. We, trim bushes or repaint the games and the things that are on the ground. Maybe repair anything that needs to be repaired. Although we do have some excellent people here, maintenance people who are working on those
ABM
things
does
too.
that too, yeah. But
Yes.
But it's nice to see parents in the building, or maybe even grandparents.
Yes.
The grandparents welcome too?
Absolutely. Yes.
So that's very good. And we're just about out of time now, but we have been talking with, as I said, Melissa Rettig, who is the principal at Longfellow New Tech Elementary School. Any things that you would like to share before we log off here?
You know what? I just want people to understand that we are working so hard. We really want success for our students. We want to see growth, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be at Longfellow, and I feel like we have a lot of community support, and I have a lot of the support of the district to make that happen. So I'm excited.
That's fantastic. And one last thing, maybe you could send out as some helpful hints to parents. We are going through cold and flu season. So when children have the sniffles or cold, what is your recommendation?
Uh, I, if they could wear a mask at school, if they have a fever or they're vomiting, then I would definitely keep them home. I would make sure that, and we've been working with students too, because we have to teach everybody, how do you wash your hands, how do you dry your hands, but making sure that kids have good hand washing habits to stay healthy. So, and that's, I don't want anyone to get sick, but
Right.
if they're not feeling well, then yes, they could stay home. But my goal is to keep everybody at school. I want good attendance too, so you can't learn if
Absolutely.
you're at home. It's difficult.
Right.
So,
Okay, well, thank you very much. You've been very informative, and it's been really nice talking with you. And I'm sure many of our listeners out there in the community and our Longfellow parents got a lot of information. So this is the first time. I know you'll be back, and you're more than welcome to bring members of your staff to talk about that. Even students. I was talking with a couple of your staff members. Suzette and Diane, and
Yes.
they have something going on because they're literacy teachers. They're going to have, I think she said, coming up in March, they're going to have a poetry contest, and so
yes.
we volunteered. I said, okay, this is what I want. I want the two winners from each grade, because you K through 4, to come, and then they'll be able to read their poem on the podcast.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
That'll
And
be fun, won't it?
we're going to kick it off on Longfellow's birthday, which is February. I think it's February 27th or 28th. So we're going to kick off a month-long poetry.
That's great.
you know,
Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
That's right. Yep. And he has some amazing poetry. He's got some really good stuff. So
Absolutely spent a lot of time studying him in college. Well, thank you very much.
thank you so much for having me. I've had fun.
Thank you. And we'll be back with our next podcast. Hey, Aaron Smith is our producer, and you can reach me, Eric Johnson, at lakeridgeschools.com, because they threw me off today.
.net.
Now we got
That's
this
.net.
whole new CHNS, and I'm just getting to lakeridgeschools.net.
.net.
So you can
There
reach
you
me, Eric Johnson, at lakeridgeschools.net, because I'm trying to adapt to the CHNS, the new one.
chsnewtech.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for having me.